Hello, my friends. I am Rick, and this is your seat at the table, and we are looking at Clan Wolf Sourcebook, all right, from the Fast Corporation, 1991. And I hope this is coming through because, like I said, I've been experimenting a little bit again. Of course, I'm always trying to make things, always trying to change things. My headphones got this little thing of Bob here. I think it's so I can turn the volume up and down, or it's so I can pause it. I don't know 100% exactly how that's supposed to work. So, for example, let me pause it. And unpause it. I just had to blow my nose. So with luck, you won't have heard me blowing your eardrums out. And if it wasn't lucky, then I apologize for that. Because sometimes when you gotta sneeze, you gotta sneeze. There's nothing you can do about it. I was really a big fan of Clan Wolf when their clans first arrived. I had mixed opinions on them. I mean, I got the idea that at some point that they wanted to step things up, they wanted to change things, they wanted to bring in yet new factions, new elements. The idea of the return of Kerensky's descendants made perfectly good sense to me. The way they were formed as the clans, I was a little bit dubious of it at the time, and then since I once again, as a player, as an aficionado, as a fan of Battletech, I both love and dislike the wolves or the clans in general, and part because I think that they really threw a left ball into or a left curve into the game system when they were initially started, and they still are. They still create a whole series of problems, in my opinion, and that the game creators, regardless of who's got the franchise, never quite seem to figure out just what to do with the damn things. And they're never completely defeated. They're never driven out. They never completely succeed. They just become yet more factions. And in the current modern adaptation, the way the clans, and some of these clans just seem to just migrate around the inner sphere and cause chaos and destruction wherever they go, and just completely disrupt the inner sphere houses at a whim. I have issues with that. I really do. That it can happen, that it does happen. No, I mean, I get that. That is part and parcel of how human nature and stuff can work. But how they function, I don't know. But as a read, as a group, they have a rich history, a well-developed backstory. It has been progressively improved upon over time, at least up until the end of the Facet era and the beginning of the Fan Pro, which is when I basically shut the door on Battletech for 2 decades because I had other issues. I had other problems going on, but I also really kind of was struggling with where the Dark Age had taken. There was such a sudden knee-jerk reaction to what happened. Where do we go? How do we get from here suddenly to the era of the Republic of the Sphere? And who the hell are these clowns? What? I mean, seriously, what? I mean, I expected the Ilkan era to happen much sooner than it did. I actually expected that to happen at some point after that 15-year truce, but it just didn't go that way. So anyway, the Clan Wolf itself, I thought, was probably the most well put together, the most sane-minded, or most convolusive or inclusive-minded of all the clans. That they really had their acts together compared to all the others. And most of the clans are examples of absolute. This is their system, and this is their narrow range of how they're going to accept things, how they're going to function, how they're going to operate, and they are ironclad to those memes. Where Clan Wolf seems to be a little more adaptive, a little more changed. I also have a thing for the wolf motif. So like Wolf's Dragoons, I mean, I really, once they made the connection, I was like, ah, I understood. But there are ups and downs in Clan Wolf that I really have issues with, and some of their evolution has been more of a de-evolution or degradation as far as I'm concerned. And they talk about rebirth and expansion. Oh my God, really? and we're into the current era we are, and I'm thinking, once again, typical Clan Wolf. This is these. So what Alric's doing is a grand example of what I've come to dislike about Clan Wolf. I mean, really, for such a so-called pack-minded, family-minded entity that everybody has value entity that's so full of BS, it's not, you know, it's not even funny. So he got what he wanted. He got Terra. He's now that quote ill clan, and what's he do? He's basically told his people that he left behind in the Wolf Zone, you're on your own. F you. F you. That's what he's doing. F you, boys. F you. I'm the king. I'm king shit, and everybody's stuff belongs to me. So when I get around to it, you know, he don't care what happens to anybody. It's just like when they decide to uproot the entire clan and move them from one side of the inner sphere to the other side to be closer to where his goals are. He totally blows off how many millions and millions, if not billions, of Clan Wolf subcase people and inner sphere people who've been indoctrinated into the Clan Wolf style of doing things for a generation or two, and basically gives them the middle, once again, flips them the middle finger and sends them on their way. I mean, that's just an example, several examples of what's really gotten to the point where I'm disgusted. And at no point, even in the earliest days, did I ever see the clans as saviors or heroes. They were always the bad guys. These are the black hats, even when they try not to be. In the eyes of the inner sphere, these are their whole idea and their whole existence is based on fraud and bullshit and several major lies. So their idea of resurging and reestablishing the Star League, and you know, it's just like Comstar. Comstar wants to reestablish the Star League too. It's with them in charge. It's like the Inner Sphere houses want to reestablish the Star League with them in charge. I mean, nothing's changed. Nothing's different. So, you know, we got the first waves and the third waves. And most of the Clan Wolf story is very well known. If you are any kind of fan of Battletech whatsoever, you've heard about Clan Wolf. You've heard about some of their exploits. Some of your newer players might know far less about them than some of us do. But the fact is, this is all well-established stuff. They pulled some pretty clever uses and some clearly clever maneuvers, and they weren't shy about making use of inner sphere assets when it suited them. That's also one of those things I liked about the Clan Wolf. I also like Clan Wolf because, like I said, they seem to be the most rational when you put them up against like the Smoke Jaguars and the Jade Falcons, who were both absolutes of a different order. The homicidal maniacs and versus you know, I don't know, iconoclast freaking power mongers. I mean, it was just you know, whatever. So there's a lot of good material in here, a lot of good stories. They go back and rehash a lot of stuff. For me now, for most of us, this is all Battletech history. This all took place. But I was there when it took place. I was there, boys. I was there, boys and girls, when they did this and that and the other thing. And I tell you, I don't recommend any of it. So, no, I mean, it was a great era. There was a lot going on, a lot of awesome novels that came out as far as I'm concerned. This was the bread and butter of the game during the mid to late 90s. Things were really looking up. And then the Battle of Tukayyid takes place. And I think a lot of things came to a head that were left unresolved. And then there was a bunch of just management issues going on behind the scenes and creative issues going on behind the scenes, in part because they really didn't know where to go next or what to do next. Tukayyid takes place and suddenly, you know, I don't know. I'm not sure they thought that far forward. So when we got this leap forward into the Dark Age era, I really struggle with it. And that's in part because you know, I'm a grognard when it comes to that sort of thing. It really, I just still am struggling with it. There's still elements of that era of the game system that really, you know, it's hard to even put into words, you know. And so we got the entire layout, their organization, who's where, what, bunch of you know, personal bios on individuals of note, and so on and so forth. I mean, it's a good source book. You really want to go back to the early days of the clan invasion and what Clan Wolf was in the beginning of Battletech, how they were presented to us and how they operated and how they understood. This is a good book to help you with that, and the novels as well. I mean, you really have to go and focus on the combination of the two. I mean, so, you know, is what it is, right? It is what it is. So when I talk about that sort of stuff, you know, is a great source book, and I've read it numerous times, and I enjoyed rereading it. It's been a couple months ago since I did it, and it just kind of reminded me of some of the stuff. You know, the artwork, much better artwork today, but then like everything else, everything evolves, everything changes, everything goes forward. Sometimes it goes backwards a few times, and not necessarily in good ways. And you know, what do you do? Glossary of clan terms, a few that are not very common. You know, don't get you know, palace. The vulnerability of a warrior, particularly elemental fields, when forced to fight without his accepted weapons. The word is probably derived from powerless. Palace. You know, acronyms. I absolutely hate acronyms, and yet their whole lexicon is full of acronyms. Go on. Add Solar 7 available. I got that box set. Good stuff. So, like I said, you know, once again, some of that wonderfully colorful artwork coming out of the 80s era. Even the artists had to learn somehow, somewhere. I'm just saying, right? This was a good book, and it's worth having if you can get it secondhand and you get lucky. It's an excellent thing to add to your bookshelf. The thing about the clans, especially the early era stuff, is that there was literally 16 clans, and they only highlighted 2. You get the Wolf Clan Sourcebook, and you get a Jade Clan Sourcebook. The rest of the clans all share sourcebooks. Now, grant you, those sourcebooks are a little thicker than these. They have to be because they're covering 4 or 5 clans. So you get the Warden clans, and you get the Crusader clans that came into the Inner Sphere, and then you get a smattering of stuff of the ones that stayed home. And then we have later revisions of that as the field manuals. Like right now, I'm finishing up going through one of the I think it's the Wardens. It might be just the clans from the 26 or the 3060, 3070 era. It's currently in my bathroom. It's when I kind of flip through when I'm doing my business. My wife always wondered why I had a book stand next to the toilet, because that's what I've always wanted. Anyway, it's like the 3145 field manual that's sitting on the front seat of my work truck. That's why, once again, I harp about the PDFs. I get it, and I'm grateful for the PDFs. Trust me, I'm grateful that they exist, because this is why you can't get these older books. They made them, they printed them, they made X amount of runs. They might have produced 1 or 2 or 4 printings, and when that was it, that's it. So if you're lucky enough to find one of these things, the internet is not paying for them through a retarded amount of money for them. You're lucky. The latest stuff, new stuff, well, everything's produced in a digital format, and so even if you get yourself a hardback, the PDFs exist, and for 4 generations down the ground. So when we hit our 80s and 90s and Battletech's still kicking, a lot of the books that are being produced right now will still likely be available in PDF form, and maybe print on demand. I mean, is that if that's possible on certain things, we're going to get access to stuff that we couldn't get now. So what makes a lot of my collection so unique or valuable is the fact that it's so, I don't want to say it's rare, and unique is a kind of a ubiquitous term a little bit, and so I mean, so on and so forth. Anyway, I'm Rick. Hope you guys have a great day. I'm going to bring you up on a couple segues. I got an ending that I updated a little bit. It still needs some tweaking. It never ends. The tweaking never ends. And then I have a little add-on to the back end. I hope you'll stick around for it. It's kind of it's a tribute to the game system I built and made. Spent 10 freaking years working on it and have not yet been able to find a way to get it published. Till next time, this is Rick, and I hope you guys have a great weekend. Let's see if I can find this thing. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? There it is. Friends, this is now cycle 3 of our exploration, and we'll make a change there. My glasses on. So in the previous turn, we were able to locate. In the first turn, we located a system with a breathable planet. Planet turns out to be grassland. Second time between the first and second cycle, we've explored 80% of the planet, and we also have developed the mineral resources that are available. So our options are to continue exploring the planet and to do some other things. So I still have, this will be 3 of 6 cycles that my colony ship can support before suffering problems with the colonists on board. So I'm going to go ahead and exploit that. First thing I'm going to do though is I'm going to take my Silver Hunter mining ship, and I'm going to go ahead and have it start mining on this round. So it can mine 1D worth of MR or mineral resources, so 1D of each one of the 7 that are listed there. And so I'm going to do 1, so I get 7 tons of oxygen, and then I'm going to do 2 tons of water, and then 3 tons of AR, 8 tons of MU, 6 tons of FE, and last one is IR, and 3 tons of IR. I think I definitely want to change these to white background. Just this blue is hard to read. I grant it. So I know that I've now totally mined a total of 3, 9, 17, 20, 29 tons of mineral resources, and my ship's capacity is 100. I have a total of 100 max cargo bay, so I could do another 2 full rounds of mining before the ship needs to unload its product into something. And at this point I have not established a colony, I have not developed anything, so that can be a problem. But meanwhile, I'm going to use up the last round of fuel and supplies for my drop shuttle, and then the drop shuttle will no longer be no longer serviceable. It will return and redock to the colony ship for the duration, and do a 90. This would be another colony or another exploration roll of the planet, which brings us to 90%. And I'm going to, like last time, first determine which chart, 60, which would be chart 2, and then we have a 90, 93. And 93 is, oh, a little known pirate haven found. This could be an issue down there. Or not. It depends on how I choose to exploit it, and how I use to work with it. Consists of 1 dice, 1d10 worth of Tech 0 bills, 1d10 prefabs, 1d10 times 10 residents, and make a roll on pirate chart. So let's just do that. We'll break that off here. Go find the pirate chart. Opposing forces. Let's see, shadow force, shadow events, or smuggler events, gutter gangs. Thankfully we didn't run with that yet. Gutter gangs, some more examples. Pirates, so pirate operations. Pirate events chart. Alright, so we're going to take into account that when we roll on these things, we'll also take into account our House Lord's modifier, and our House Lord is considered a squire at this point, and that is a negative 50. So I will not, when I roll, everything I roll will be under 50, and that aspect. So 45, so it's under 50. Because if I rolled 51, I would re-roll, because I do not want to run into anything that you may not be able to handle. So 40, 45. Yeah, it says honest, quote, an honest floob attempts to purchase a new starship from the house shipyard. Right. Well, there's a couple problems with that. First off, we haven't established the colony yet, and so we don't have an active shipyard. Second, our active shipyard hasn't built anything, so there's nothing to sell. So I can choose to translate this over into somebody trying to purchase one of my existing ships, my house lord's existing ships. That's an option I think I can go for. So anyway, we'll get to this this last exploration roll, and for the planet itself, and then the planet will be 100% explored, which puts us in a good spot. This is 13, so this would be exploration chart 1, and then we're going to roll 37, and 37 is nothing. So nothing is never a bad thing. It sounds like it's a bad thing, but generally speaking, I'm of the opinion it's never a bad thing. So what we are also want to do is that used up my dropship, my other mining ship, and my one scout ship. It leaves me with one scout ship left over, and I'm going to choose to make it an exploration roll of my system. So I'm going to look for the exploration roll for a known system, exploring the known solar system. So my known solar system, I know, has a grassland already, and this is now at 100%. I have yet to name it. I have not colonized on it, and it has one moon. And we know that the sun is a G4 class 3 sun, which is in a great range. This leaves 90% of my solar system yet to be explored. So I'm going to say this is 10%, and then we're going to make it 20%. And we're going to roll on exploring a known solar system chart. So 77. 77, roll once on ship traffic roll. All right, so this makes it 20%, and we get a ship traffic roll, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Let's see. So let's find ship traffic rolls. Let's see, landing fees, taxes, surpluses, negative surpluses, galactic commerce chapter. So we want starship traffic chart, and once again I included 3 different charts. Let's see. No, I have 2 separate starship charts. One is just straight starship traffic, and one is a guild traffic chart. So we will take a roll. 53. So 53 says roll on the guild traffic chart. So we will go to the guild traffic roll chart, and that was here. And we will roll, what is that? 28. So 28. A mercenary starship arrives, contracted by a platinum, places itself under house control. So, event. Merc. Star. Ship. Controlled. They're contracted by one of my platinums. It sets itself under control of the house, which is awesome because now I've actually got myself the possibility of a warship. So we're going to go on here and determine exactly what we got going on here. Mercenary ships not necessarily mean warship, because there could be technically a mercenary trader. Anybody who works independently for money is considered a mercenary in some people's, in my vernacular, and some other people. So it says here to roll what type. So we will roll what type. 49. So 49 is a sloop. Sloop is pretty good. It's better than anything my house fleet has right now. This is a sloop, which is a tech to worship, actually. Awesome stuff, right? So that concludes my operations for this particular cycle, and brings us to the next one would be cycle 4, and we will go from there. Until next time, this is I say that at the end, it's just a habit. I don't know why I'm saying it. Going on, my friends, this is Rick, and hey, if you like the channel, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, tell your buddies, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, tell anybody else that's in the gaming industry or gaming fandom that says, hey, this is a channel worth checking out, right? Till next time, I hope you guys have yourself